You've provided us with a 21-page report, because on page 22 you say thank you. So 21-page report is largely exculpatory. In fact, it's completely exculpatory. It acknowledges no responsibility for this incident. You tell us how you have followed the correct processes that you should follow, and how you've cooperated ex post facto with a variety of institutions which are questioned, but nevertheless. And that's what you tell us. You don't tell us what happened, how this happened, what you've done about what happened. There's absolutely no indication in this report that G4S accepts any responsibility for the fact that until yesterday, there was a serial murderer and rapist on the run. Can you tell me why that is?
Honourable Member, as I mentioned, when it comes to the investigation of what happened that night, we could only investigate what happened under our control, what happened at the MCC that night. And I believe that investigation we have done. We have determined who the people under our control are who did not comply with policies and procedures that evening that may have contributed to the escape. We suspended them and we dismissed them. Incidentally, they have taken their suspensions to the CCMA for review, so they disagree with the decisions that we arrived at. But as far as the initial investigation around a suicide is concerned, and we need to remind ourselves that was the initial facts that we had to deal with. And then later the murder investigation, as far as that's concerned, those are criminal and forensic matters that we do not have the skills, nor I guess the permission to investigate. Our obligation is to investigate internally, to deal with those individuals, and to pass that information to the police services so that they can take that information and assist them with their investigations. I think, Honourable Member, with respect, it's harsh to say that we did nothing.
Well, harsh, not harsh, be that as it may, it's my view. You can like it, you can lump it, don't really care. So, you're saying we complied with protocols and procedures and that's it. We stand back and we have no further obligation here. So your job is merely to incarcerate people, make sure that your bed count is full, and come what may. Is that what you're telling me?
No, that's not what I'm telling you.
Well, it appears to be what you're telling me.
No. We investigated the actions of those under our control. We suspended them and we dismissed them.
I see. You are aware of the fact that there's a view at DCS that you in fact suspended and fired and transferred a whole bunch of people so that DCS couldn't get hold of them to in fact do their own investigation. Have you got a comment on that?
I'm not aware of those. Perhaps my colleagues have knowledge of transfers.
Well, perhaps you or one of your colleagues can tell me who was investigated, who was suspended, who was fired, and who was transferred, and why.
Mr. Beideveld can
and I would have expected to find those details in this report, not this whitewash, quite frankly. So I'd like to hear from you then, Mr. Beideveld. Can you help me?
Honourable Member, firstly, the night supervisor in charge, Mr. Sonoy Matswara, was suspended and fired. Dismissed, using the wrong word. Then Natasha Jansen, the operator in the control room, was suspended and dismissed. Tix Makotsa, the person in the control room with Natasha that night, was suspended and dismissed. No employees of us is being transferred. Yes, we did indeed suspend these employees, but information can be made available to the committee where the controller requested to see these people. He's given the times to us, and we've arranged with those people to come back to the centre to see the controller on site for his investigation.
Do you do lifestyle audits on your employees? I don't know, pick a straw, whichever one of you is going to answer.
Honourable Member, we don't do any life audit.
Why not?
We really don't have any reason to do the lifestyle audit on our employees.
I beg your pardon? Do you want to repeat that?
Yes, we don't see any reason to do the lifestyle audits on our employees.
You employ people to look after hardened criminals. Your facility looks after, it's a maximum security facility, right? So we're not looking at shoplifters. And you don't think it's necessary to do lifestyle audits on your staff?
Honourable
Who
Member.
I'm busy.
Sorry.
And when I'm done, you'll have an opportunity. And don't make the mistake of interrupting me again. And you don't think it's necessary to do lifestyle audits on people who look after criminals like that, who have access to money, who are known for bribery and corruption? Are you saying your staff is above that? And if you are saying so, on what basis? Pick a straw.
Honourable Member, I can answer that when employees are being appointed at the centre, there's a full police investigation or a police report being done on them, a vetting report has been done. That vetting report with other documentation is being sent to the Department of Correctional Services, who look at the documentation, we conduct training on these employees, and then they approved to operate within the Correctional Services Act as custodial officials.
Sorry, Honourable Breitenbach, but even a security clearance or a vetting, it has got a time frame. You do it every 5 years. So if I did that vetting 20 years ago, will it still apply now? Because that is what you are saying to the question asked by Honourable Breitenbach.
Honourable Member, I cannot speculate on that. The people from our HR department that's directly dealing with the employees are unfortunately not available. So I will have to write it down and come back with the answer to Honourable Breitenbach on that one.
I presume the answer will be no. So, in this report, or this document, I hesitate to call it a report, so in this document that you've provided, that took you so long to prepare, that says nothing that's not in the public domain, took you so long to prepare that we could only get it this morning, because you only finished it around midnight last night. Just incidentally, what were you doing for the previous year, if this is what you prepared until 12 o'clock last night? All of this information must have been available on a computer somewhere, and all you had to do was print it. So what took so long? I mean, just tell me that first.
Honourable Member, we had to collate all the information. It was not all available on a single laptop. We had to collate it from various sources. We had to analyse it and put the presentation together. We also wanted it independently vetted to ensure that everything contained in this report is factually correct.
I see. You think you succeeded?
Yes, I think we have.
Wow. So I'll put it to you, my view is that you're evading responsibility here. You're ducking all the institutional, the systemic issues that point to your own culpability in this matter. And the only things that you've included in this report are exculpatory. I take it you don't agree.
Honourable Member, apologies, English is my second language. Can you please explain
I
the
can
word
tell
that
it
you're
to you, I can put it to you in Afrikaans if you like.
Please.
Hierdie dokumentjie wat julle as 'n verslag voor lê, is regtig nie die papier werd waarop dit geskryf is nie. Al wat julle doen is, Julle probeer verantwoordelikheid vermy. Julle spreek geen aanspreeklikheid aan vir julle rol in hierdie hele gemors. Julle spreek geen aanspreeklikheid aan oor die verloop van die jaar waar daar niks gebeur het nie en hierdie moordenaar die lekker lewe gelei het. Terwyl almal geweet het, julle dalk korrektiewe dienste, verseker die staat in sy geheel, geweet het hierdie man loop rond. En julle het niks gedoen nie, julle het vir niemand gesê nie. En die ergste daarvan is, julle het nooit vir enige van sy slagoffers laat weet nie. En julle aanvaar geen aanspreeklikheid nie. Wil jy graag iets sê daaroor?
Honourable Member, thank you for clarifying. The statement is made that we're not accepting any responsibility. I cannot agree with that statement. We have disclosed that we have dismissed 3 members, and we've made that information available to the police. The police, in the last few days, arrested one of them. And I would like to think that is based on the contribution that we've made. It's not for us to link those individuals to the ultimate crime. That is for the police services to do. So I think it's incorrect to say that we did nothing, and that we do not feel that we are culpable in this. Regarding your comment about us not warning the police, warning the South African public. Again, we dealt initially, until the 25th of May, we dealt with the suicide. The 25th of May, a murder investigation was opened, still pertaining to the individual who we found in that cell. The identity at that stage, as far as we were concerned and based on knowledge available to us, was still that of Thabo Bester. And that remained the theme and the facts available certainly to us until the 2nd of February of this year, when JIC said, we're investigating a possible escape, and until it became known to us that in the very early months of this year, SAPS had opened an investigation into escape. Until then, the facts that are available to us with hindsight, that's available with hindsight to judge our actions, were not available to us at the time.
Well, I'm glad you went there. Are you finished? Sorry.
And because of that, Honourable Member, and because of our contract with the DCS, we were not allowed to talk to the public and inform the public of a possible escape. We were not aware of an escape, and we did not have the right to talk to third parties about the activities of the correctional centre.
Okay, so because I only have, a very short space of 30 minutes, and I could quite honestly be here for the next 4 or 5 days, I'd like it if you could keep your answers brief, please. Thank you. So I'm glad you went to this issue of, not knowing that it was an escape. Until very recently, I think until just during the course of this month still, G4S was insisting that the body that was found in that cell was in fact Thabo Bester. That was your view. And it was articulated again to us on our visit last week. That's still your view, regardless of the inconsistencies in the post-mortem report and regardless of the practically irrefutable DNA evidence. G4S clung to this version that the body was that of Thabo Bester. Why is that?
Honourable Chair, that's based on the information that was available to us. I was not at the briefing last week, so I don't know what was said. We asked for the pathology report mid last year. We were not handed that report. It's only on the 2nd of May, 2nd of of February this year that we were given a copy of the pathology report and the DNA report. Until then, at that stage, we had no evidence other than rumors that there had been an escape or that it was not Thabo Bester who had died in that cell.
I'm sorry, please let me interrupt you because I already told you I don't have time. So keep your answers brief, answer the question, please, nothing more. A discussion we can maybe have when we both got more time. Why did G4S cling to the version that it was Thabo Bester's body in that cell, even after it was very clear to everybody else in South Africa that it wasn't? Just answer me that question.
Because we were not the primary investigating authority, and we did not have access to the prime evidence, Honourable Member.
And that's your answer?
Yes.
Wow. I wish we were in court. So you have investigated and dismissed 3 people. Are you honestly sitting here this morning telling us that this escape of Hollywood proportions, and no doubt some smart journalist is going to write a book and make a lot of money, was done with the assistance of 3 people? Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm not suggesting that, Honourable Member. I'm saying that those are the individuals who did not follow policy and procedure.
That's just simply not possible. It had to have been so many more. A simple walkthrough of your facility revealed that it had to be so many more. How can you honestly sit there this morning and tell not me, not the people in this room, you're talking, I hope you understand, to the South African public who have an absolute direct interest in this matter. They have an interest in not having serial rapists and murderers running around the streets. And your job was to make sure that didn't happen, a job you failed at miserably. Do you honestly want to tell people that you think, or that you're satisfied, or that the ambit of your investigation was satisfied after 3 people were suspended and fired? Really?
That's what we are able to say at this stage, Honourable Member.
Good Lord. You'll agree with me that, just tell me, how would this propellant, this petrol, let's assume it was petrol, have gotten into the cell?
Honourable Member, we don't know.
You don't know.
We detected that, and we alerted the police to that.
And where would the matches, the lighter, the whatever it is that sets the light come from?
I don't know.
You don't
Honourable
know.
Member.
And you've done nothing to find out. Cell 35 has been traversed quite thoroughly by my colleagues. But you'll agree with me that it's a massive confluence of coincidences that Bester was moved there on that particular date, to that particular cell. Right in the corner, where unless you're really paying attention, you will not see somebody walking up and down there. Because we looked, we did an experiment. And we saw the person because we were watching him. If the controller is not paying 100% attention, maybe blowing her nose or whatever, we wouldn't have seen it. Because it's the only cell that's so far away that you can't see. And not to put too fine a point on it, and no pun intended, it's right next to the fire escape. Can you tell me that that's a coincidence? Are you suggesting that that's a coincidence?
I have no information, Honourable Member, other than to regard that as a coincidence.
Yeah.
What I'm not ruling out is that certain members, together with Mr. Bester, carefully planned this event. I'm not ruling that out, but I have nothing tangible to present to you to say that this is anything other than a coincidence.
You've been investigating for a year. You've had the benefit of the JIX report, which is an excellent one. You've had the benefit of your interaction with DCS. You've had the benefit of the interaction with the South African police. And you're telling me that a year and a bit later, the best you can say is you don't rule out the possibility that this was a well-planned, monumentally logistical operation. I mean, I have a German Shepherd puppy that can come to that conclusion. There's the arson, the setting alight of whoever the poor individual was in that cell. There's the corpse substitution. Who is that person in the cell? Where did they come from? Did they come from inside the prison? Because then your head count wouldn't have matched. Did they come in from the outside? How? Did they walk in? Were they murdered in the prison? Did they come in dead? You can't answer any of these questions.
We don't know.
You don't know.
what level.
A year and a bit later, you don't know.
We have provided all information pertaining to the movement of our personnel that evening to the SAPS, and it's for them to investigate
I see.
based on our information.
You have no responsibilities.
I'm not saying we have no responsibilities. I'm
Well,
saying that we have
be
investigated this
saying
matter
so.
to the extent possible.
You appear to be saying you have no responsibilities. You've done what you could. Given bits of paper to other people and that's it. Wash your hands.
Not at all.
Well, that's the impression you create. And I want to tell you it's not good enough. It's impossible to believe that this whole operation could have taken place without the greasing of many palms. Where would that money have come from? Whose palms were greased? Which of your officials are living above their means? You don't know because you don't do lifestyle audits.
No, we don't.
You don't think you should.
We need to take that recommendation to heart, Honourable Member.
How many G4S employees were on duty at that facility that night?
I'll ask my colleagues to answer that.
Good.
It was 23, Honourable Member, that was on duty.
23 people had to look the other way.
Honourable Member, the investigation proved that the 3 people that was involved, that was suspended, were there. There was 2 people that was moved by the supervisor in charge that formed part of his disciplinary offence. In hindsight, we can now do realize that they were moved to be out of sight. Then the other people were inside units which will make the viewing to that specific unit very limited.
And just days prior to this incident, a vehicle made an unauthorized entry into the prison facility, correct?
That's correct.
How come? Why?
That's currently being investigated. We've been notified by the notice that my colleague has referred to during the presentation, which we received on the 28th of February this year.
What precisely did, forgive me, but precisely what did you investigate for the past year, if you didn't know that until February? I mean, what form did your investigation take?
Honourable Member, if I may, I think the timelines here should not be overlooked. The incident, as you pointed out, happened on the 29th of April last year. It became known to the DCS through an affidavit filed by one of our employees in mid-November. This incident was raised for the first time. The DCS made that information available to us for the first time, I believe it was 3.5 months later, on the 28th of February. And it's then that we started to investigate this matter. So even though the incident happened 10 months ago, we've only had knowledge of this matter for a few weeks. And it's not that we've done nothing. We have commenced this investigation, and these investigations are very sensitive if you want to conduct them properly.
Very sensitive, you want to conduct them properly. I know a thing or two about investigations.
Secondly, the incident book, where it was recorded that the vehicle had entered and 8 minutes later had left the facility, suggests nothing untoward with that entry. So by any independent party looking at that log, they would not have detected anything untoward as far as that vehicle's entry and exit is concerned.
So your system is deficient, doesn't pick up, there's no checks and balances, doesn't pick up this kind of thing, can go undetected for a year. There could have been many more such entries and exits, who would know? So clearly your system is not foolproof. Your staff didn't report it for some odd reason. How many people are on duty at the gate? 1.
I'll ask my colleagues to, I don't know what that answer is.
There was one on duty, honourable member, yes, correct.
And how did the vehicle get in without authorization?
The process will still reveal it, but currently I can confirm that we've got 7 people that suspended pending this investigation on the involvement on that specific incident.
You've had 6 weeks. So how far have you got with your investigation? Tell us, that's what you're here to do.
We've taken most of the affidavits. There was one affidavit that was still pending on an employee that wasn't available. The investigator will deal with that. And then unfortunately, the investigator that's investigating that had the operation and was out of context for a week. Thank you.
So the vehicle came in, it was bringing in a kist, a box, a quasi-coffin. You agree with me? I presume your investigation has at least revealed that.
Yes, it was a TV stand cabinet that came
A
in.
TV stand cabinet, okay. And where did that TV stand cabinet go to?
It went into the skills development area, and according to the people that currently being investigated, this stand was brought in by the supervisor that is currently suspended, not suspended, being dismissed, and that came in for rectification purposes.
To be repaired. Was it repaired, do you know?
No, it was not repaired, Your Honor.
I see, and that didn't raise a red flag with anybody. A large wooden box comes into the prison in contravention of all the protocols for repair and doesn't get repaired. Didn't bother anyone?
I cannot answer on that at this stage. As I said, I will be able to answer that when the investigation has been
I
finalized.
see. Could a corpse have fitted into that TV stand?
I think so, yeah.
And it wasn't searched. It wasn't inspected.
That's one of the reasons why the employee that was working there has been suspended. Currently, he didn't do his work properly.
Yeah, but it's a year later. A bit sad, that. So your Sally Port has got all these fancy mirrors and lights and cameras and whatever. Nobody noticed on any of the cameras that the thing had come in and wasn't inspected?
Honourable Member, once again, the investigation is currently pending, but the people that's working in the CCR room that had to monitor this is also currently being suspended because they did not report it.
So the list of those whose palms were greased is getting longer. It's not just 3 people. We're standing now at around 10, is that right?
We're currently there, but remember, we're currently still busy with the investigation,
I've
and
got no doubt the numbers will increase.
it may be that's from the 7, some of them can come back to work because you suspend to ensure that you can conduct a proper investigation without interference of people.
Honorable Breitenbach, you are left with 4 minutes. Unless you can speak nicely to Honorable Ngola. Oh, okay.
Horn is still struggling with his car's flat battery, so I'll take his 30 minutes. I've told him so, it's fine. So the list is growing and it will continue to grow. Oh, here he is now to claim his 30 minutes. I've just said I'm taking your 30 minutes, so there, you can come and settle down. So it comes into the room for the inspection that's known as the Sally Port. Come sit here. No, I want to talk to you. No inspection takes place. All these fancy mirrors, cameras, wonderful stuff, to no avail, because it's not foolproof. and there's no backup. There's no way to check. Again, the system fails. Do you agree? Pick a straw, guys.
Honourable Chair, the Cameron